that's always one of the first things I'll ask clients in a consultation is I'll try and find their why and what motivates them. And I can tell, like on day one, like that first chat, if they're going to stick it out or not, like just by how strong their motivation is.
Hey winners, welcome to episode 252 of the SuperSetYourLife.com podcast. This is your bi-weekly dose of entertainment, education, and inspiration to fuel your life inside and beyond the gym. And I am your host, Coach Colt. Michael Meola is 23 days out, not from stepping on stage, but from his next powerlifting meet. He is from Syracuse, New York. He is a NASM-Certified Corrective Exercise Specialist, helping people achieve the best versions of themselves. Mike, Danielle, who is our WNBF professional women's bodybuilder, and I all did the Lion Diet together a couple months ago. Danielle and I have been on prep for our own bodybuilding shows ever since then, and I'm 16 weeks out, she's a few weeks out, and Mike went immediately into his meat-based keto powerlifting training program. So today we are going to go through his training split, his meal plan, and what changes we need to make to that, and then we're going to turn the tables and we're going to talk shoulder injuries, actually. I've been going through debilitating shoulder pain personally. I've self-diagnosed myself with what I believe to be an AC separation. So we'll see if that's what that is or not. I think that's what it is. I'm not stopping my prep for this, so I'm going to be using contralateral training as physical therapy to heal my shoulder. I've been doing that for the past week now. So I'm going to talk to Mr. Mike about that. I've been taking a deep dive into the science of contralateral training, which I will be sharing with Coach Mike and asking for his thoughts and expertise as the corrective exercise specialist that he is. For more on Coach Mike, episode 224 of this show, from 308 pounds to a lean, mean, ribeye-eating machine with Michael Meola, basically defines this gentleman. And episode 235, Coach Mike's Lion Diet results, keto powerlifting, and tips for beginners. Coach Mike, welcome back to the SuperSetYourLife.com podcast, sir.
Oh, thanks for having me back. Great to be back.
Absolutely, my man. So you are 23 days out, dude. What's the name and location of the show that you're doing again? Or the meet, that is?
The name of the meet is called the IRON Asylum meet. Pretty metal name, but IRON Asylum, and it's out at Blood Iron Barbell out here in Syracuse, New York. So it's a local meet. I don't have to drive very far for it. That's what kind of tempted me to just do like an impromptu type of meet.
I love it. We've been having heavy metal music on the podcast, and I've been playing a lot of heavy metal music lately, and so I'll make sure that the background music on this is definitely heavy metal.
Nice.
Yeah, man. So what do your workout splits look like right now? I have no idea. I'm not a powerlifter.
So obviously, like with powerlifting and strength, it's got to be like the display of skill, especially when you have to be able to get the commands down, timing, especially learning my leverages. That was a big thing too. After all the weight I lost, I had to kind of relearn how to get under a barbell. So right now, I'm benching 4 times a week. I'm deadlifting twice a week and squatting twice a week. So it's a 6-day split with 1 day I just kind of take off, but I still keep the sessions between, no more than an hour. So I'm not in the gym for 2 to 3 hours even so. Yeah, I do like primary bench work, speed bench work, and then like my technical bench work where I work on the commands that the judges will give me. And then I do the same thing for like my deadlift and squat based on, I do like a high day and a low day pretty much. And that's kind of the split I've been running for the past few months.
Okay. So different techniques, would that be something like, so I have trained with a lot of powerlifters, and we would always do, and when I did, we would always do something called pause sets. So you would basically wait until your spotter says go, and then you can push the bar up.
Yeah.
And it actually got to the point to where I preferred the pause, because we did that so much that I didn't want to just like touch and go anymore. Like I just wanted to, stop, take a second, take a deep breath. And I kind of like it.
Yeah, for sure. I've been powerlifting for so long. I can't even do touch and go. Like my touch and go is weaker than my pause. Like I just feel like I can just like sink it into my chest and like blast off and just like heave it off me. But touch and go, I feel like, it's just not as good. So yeah, that would be like the specifics, right? You have to wait for the commands, because there's 3 commands they give you. So you don't want to get red lights or miss a lift because you miss some stupid command, which I've seen happen. I've seen dreams break because people miss a stupid command.
Yeah, man, I've seen dreams break the last couple of weeks at track meets. We're talking meets, and so now you got me in track mind right now. But when we have people that are just wonderful throwers and they scratch because they did something wrong with their toe or they had a piece of jewelry that fell off and crossed the line.
Oh, geez. Oh, yeah, because there's like distance and stuff right there. Like they can't go over like a certain distance when they throw and do things or whatever.
Yep, can't step over the line. Any body part goes over the line, nope, scratch. Sorry.
That's a tragedy. Yeah, that's yeah.
Blue ribbon, nope, goes to that kid. You don't have it, buddy.
Oh.
Okay, so what do you weigh right now, dude?
Yep. So right now I hover between 175 and 180, kind of depending on the day. Kind of blew up a little, not blew up, but I've just been doing a lot more intuitive eating.
Sorry, what's your weight right now again?
Oh, this morning I was 176.
Good stuff.
So, yeah, I've been. I kind of took a little bit of your advice on some of like the refeed type days based on my heavier training sessions. So I've just been doing a lot more high days, low days, just more intuitive eating, just focusing on my performance in the gym. And really, what it's been is just like maybe like an extra keto brick or like some extra like meat here and there. But I'm not being as diligent as I was like on the lion diet and previously with my macros, just because aesthetics aren't quite the goal right now with weight loss. But yeah, I'm still pretty happy with where I'm at. I'm, around 176 this morning.
Good stuff. And you need to be in what weight class?
So 160. I mean, ultimately they said it's whatever I weigh in at, but the one I signed up for was 165. So, okay. Yeah, probably just like a quick trim or whatever. I don't know, but yeah, I still feel like I'm in a good spot. I'm feeling strong, feeling healthy at this weight. Definitely tossing some weight around.
So we'll keep cutting you down towards that direction then.
Okay.
We'll talk about what to do with that here in a second. In terms of your in terms of your lifts right now, what are those looking like?
Like where my numbers are at right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, so bench press, I did 275. I'm getting into some singles as of this week. My peak just started this week. So my best so far in this prep I did a 275 for 3 on my bench press, which flew up. I haven't tossed around bench press like that with that kind of speed since I was 40 pounds heavier on a sad diet.
Wow.
And then
that's crazy. My best bench was 335. Actually, the day before I redislocated my shoulder or re-AC separated or whatever. So we'll talk about that in a little bit too.
That's pretty.
Yeah, I think my body weight was around 210. This was in 200. This was in 2020.
Oh, nice. Yeah. And what did I see for deadlifting? I did some really heavy pulls, the best I've done in a while against some like reverse band type of Circamax training. I ended up pulling 600 pounds for a rep on deadlifting.
Wow. Holy crap. Is that conventional or sumo?
It was sumo, unfortunately, but
my conventional is always better than sumo. The highest I ever got was 535.
Nice. Yeah, my conventional, I'm just like, I'm built for sumo. I got like, I'm just able to get into better position, and conventional has just always felt awkward to me, but I'm super stoked about that. And then my squats are pretty poverty squats right now. I'm only squatting around 3 plates right now, 315, but my squats always take a nosedive when my body composition changes and I kind of drop down just because I don't have as much hip structure, I guess, as when I was heavier. So I feel like I'm relearning how to squat with a barbell.
Yeah, I can relate to you there. Of the 3 lifts, whenever I would cut, the first thing to go was always squat.
Yeah.
Bench and deadlift, those are usually good until I get to sub 5% body fat, and then those just kind of go to shit, and then you just kind of hold on to whatever you can until the show's done.
At that point, yeah. Plus, I got long femurs. Like I got long legs and long femurs, so squatting's just my Achilles heel. Just because I'm just not really built to squat with my long legs and whatnot.
I'm the same way. Are you a high bar guy or a low bar guy?
High bar.
Really?
Yeah,
wow.
I go back and forth with low bar, but it's just I always end up getting nagging shoulder and elbow issues from low bar. So I just ended up scrapping it, and high bar actually does feel a little bit more comfortable for me. I've been noticing.
Mm-hmm. Wow, interesting. Yeah, you put a bar on my traps, and my spine just like doesn't feel good, doesn't feel right. I have to have the bar low to squat properly, even to get low enough.
Yeah. Yeah, probably more like you probably do like more like hips back. Probably just make sure you get low enough and just like kind of sink into it a bit.
Yeah, my back is almost kind of like a good morning by the time I'm all the way, but by the time I'm all the way down,
Yeah.
that's how I get the most power. But that's also because my femurs are just so, I'm 6'2" with very long femurs, and so my center of gravity is pretty far back, and so I'm forced to lean a little bit further forward to overcompensate for it. And the low bar position kind of encourages more of a forward lean as well.
Yeah.
But that's the only way that I've ever been able to get any kind of power out of squatting, and that's just been so hard on my hips that I don't even do that anymore. So all my leg training right now is Bulgarian split squats, and I go heavy on those. I go really, really heavy on those. I do those on the Smith machine, and then leg press, hack squats, sissy squats, leg extensions. Vertical leg presses. I'm loving those, man.
Oh, yeah,
I'm loving that. Have you ever done that on the Smith machine?
I've never done that on a Smith machine. No.
Oh God, yeah. Or just like a normal vertical leg press if you have one. Most people aren't lucky enough to have one at their gym, but basically I'll put the bench down and then do 2 reps on my left leg, 2 reps on my right leg, 2 reps on my left leg, 2 reps on my right leg. This is with 2 plates on each side, so 225 pounds, right? Yeah, if you're counting the bar weight.
Yeah.
This is called an ascending rep method, and so it's something I'd like to do like at a burnout after I've already done my heavy stuff or the heaviest stuff that I'm going to do for that leg workout.
Mhm.
And then so I'll do 2 reps left leg, 2 reps right leg, 4 reps left leg, 4 reps right leg, 6 left, 6 right, 8 reps left, 8 right, 10 left, 10 right. So then by that point you've done 30 reps on each leg.
But it's like 2.
And what's that?
It's like 2 at a time. Like the reps, like you're just kind of going back and forth. So it's like the reps feel lighter, but you're ascending up, like you're climbing up in reps and whatnot.
Yeah, if you're one of those people that's like really into drop sets and stuff, and just like ways to take the same exercise but challenge your muscles in a different, like in a new creative way, this technique is a lot of fun because the exercise becomes easier as the exercise continues because you have more rest, but it becomes more challenging because you're doing more reps every single set.
Yeah.
So it's a fun way to really challenge yourself differently. Yeah, you should try it.
I'm a sucker for drop sets and stuff like that, so I'll have to give that a try on my next training session when I can fit that in.
Heck yeah. Okay, so is anyone that you know worried about you getting into diabetic ketoacidosis? I've had a couple of my clients lately say that it's just like one of those things one of those words people throw around in the gym. And so we actually did a podcast there, and I looking into the science a couple episodes ago on this channel, and we're getting John Arnold, who is truly an expert on this topic, actually. But have you been having people ask you the same thing? And if so, I'm just curious as to what your response is.
Yeah, I mean, I've had a few guys at the gym I train at tell me, "Oh, be careful on that keto. You don't want to end up getting ketoacidosis." And his exact words were like I did. So he kind of like made it feel like he did keto, and then he said, I guess he did keto and got ketoacidosis or whatever. So he said, you don't want to be dumb and do keto and get ketoacidosis because that'll be a bad time. And then everyone else, usually not so much the acidosis, but everyone's just like, oh, good luck having energy, good luck getting pumps, good luck getting stronger. But to the guy who mentioned about me getting ketoacidosis, I pretty much said, well, I mean, I'm doing it the right way. Like I'm not doing dirty keto or doing, I'm actually tracking everything and I'm watching stuff. So I've been eating this way long enough and I don't find myself in the hospital. So I think I'm all right.
For sure. Tell us what happened when you took your friend's advice to eat carbs for a day. You sent me a text message like a week ago and you're like, hey, if you want to tell anybody this, you can. So I was like, okay, well, yeah, we'll just talk about that the next time we check in and we can record it. Okay, so somebody was like, you should eat a bunch of carbs and see how big it fills you out, right?
Yeah, much like you won't get good. You won't get as good at pumps without carbs. You're not going to be able to move as much weight without carbs. So I said to him, I was just like, all right, well, I'll have some carbs tonight and I'll have some carbs tomorrow before my training session. I'll report back to you with how I felt. And I felt like crap that whole morning. Like it just like my pumps weren't as good. I felt weaker. It was a bench press day. Like the bench press was just moving slower. I felt sluggish. My pumps weren't as good as they are when I'm normally on keto. And yeah, it was a poor experience. Definitely would not do again. But I wanted to like do that just for the sake of the science and just to like prove to them, maybe anecdotally or whatever. But like, yeah, this doesn't work for me. Like I've always felt my body runs better on fats.
Yeah, yeah. That's so funny. I got you, and then I got 7 bodybuilders right now. These are all the competitors that are that are stepping on stage in the next 16 weeks, and then everybody else is kind of after that. But of everybody, they're all keto, they're all carnivore, and they are all natural. And then everybody else's diet is pretty much the same. And so it's very heavily focused on red meat, butter, and then maybe like some bacon or some eggs or chicken, pork, like whatever else around that. And that'll make up 95% of their diet. And then from there, it's keto bricks, or, or like whey protein isolate, or just like something like that. But ever since freaking Paul Saladino, man, and like and like maybe 1 or 2 other people, like most of the main carnivore influencers are, just still doing are still doing the same thing, the same way of eating. But as soon as that started happening, I had 5 or 6 people ask for fruit back in their diet and honey, fruit and honey. Like everybody thinks that we have that like that if you're a carnivore, you have the green light on as much fruit and as much honey as you want all of a sudden. No, man, it's still just sugar, and it's probably worse for you than sugar, actually. You know what honey is, right? Like bees just eat a bunch of plants and then they throw it up. Like it's not an animal product; it's still a plant product. And so, but everybody that's been carnivore and that has reintroduced that's been carnivore for a while and that's reintroduced plants or carbs, not good. And so I knew that was gonna be what your experience was.
Yeah.
Thanks for telling me. Thanks for being honest.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I just wanted to kind of prove it to them and myself, like, anecdotally, and just be like, yeah, this is bad reporting back. This was a negative experience. Not good.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. Well, let's go through your meal plan. So I'm going to share. If you are listening to the podcast, then you'll have to like imagine what my Microsoft Excel, or excuse me, what my Google Sheets looks like. But I'm going to share my screen. If you're on YouTube right now, you will be able to see what Mr. Mike's meal plan looks like. Share screen 2. Are we there? Cool. Can you see it, Mike?
Yep.
Super stuff. Okay, so your macros are at 160 grams of protein right now and 140 grams of fat. Today's date is what, the 15th, right?
Yeah. Yep.
24. Yeah, buddy. Okay. So if we want to cut sooner, if we want to go for that, what did you say, 165?
Yeah.
Okay. That's going to be steep, but here's what I vote we do. I vote that we go for that we drop your protein to 145 because your lean body mass is, let's see, what percent body fat are you, pal? You're under 10%.
Yeah, I don't have one of those scale that like really tracks all that, so I'm not really sure how to find my body fat percentage. Honestly, I don't even know what are the.
If I had to take a rough guess off the top of my head, I would say that you're probably let's just say that you're 10%. That'll be a little that'll be generous. I know that you're under 10%. I mean, we can see your abs. You got vascularity. You're full. You're hard. So let's say that you're at 10%, just to round up. 10% of 170 pounds is, or excuse me, 10% of 176, right, is what you weigh right now?
As of this morning, yep.
Okay, so 17.6. So we'll subtract that because that's your fat mass. So that'll land you somewhere around like 160 grams. So I really don't want your protein any lower than that. Let's go 150 then on your protein. I'm glad that I just talked through those numbers because we'll keep you just right under there. I really don't want your protein to be any lower. That'll come at the expense of your recovery. Are you doing any amino acids or anything in intro workout at all?
I just take some Rehabilitate, just kind of like some electrolytes and stuff that I'll drink like in the middle of my workouts, but I don't have any aminos or anything. I think I should.
Okay. And you take that before or after your oral steroids? I'm just
Oh
kidding.
yeah. That took a second. Yeah, no, yeah.
It took me a second to get it out. I don't know why I stuttered. Okay.
According to that's what I'm. Yeah, that would be my my routine.
Well, I'm gonna get pretty aggressive on your fats. All right, dude. We're gonna hack away at this. So let's drop your fats from 140 to 100. All right.
Okay.
Um, if this makes you too hungry, then that's when you have to look in the mirror and decide if if the 165 weight class is really worth it or not.
Yeah.
But this will definitely get you headed in the right direction. If you feel okay doing this, I think we just keep hacking away at your fats. About a week out, I would like to do a refeed. Okay.
Yeah.
We haven't talked about refeeds before. Is that something that you've done as a power lifter?
I've never really looked. I mean, honestly, because I've always just been a fatty. I never worry about refeeds. But now that I'm leaner, I think they could definitely be more. I kind of took some of your advice, like I mentioned before, where I did some refeeds more so around like my heavier training sessions, and I don't know how to properly do them for like my quote unquote refeed was usually just like an extra, like a whole keto brick or something, just like extra calories. But I wouldn't know the actual macros and how to go about a refeed.
Okay. So I'm gonna pull up Jill's spreadsheet right now. She's totally cool with me doing this. She's stepping on stage as a bodybuilder in less than 2 weeks. So her macros are low, man, like scary low. Yeah. She's also very light. And, yeah, she's also very light, and she's also peeled to the bone. Like right now, she's actually probably too conditioned for the bikini category. She and I have talked about this. She's okay with this. She is the reason that, the reason that she's leaner going into this show than what's required is because both of us just kind of like to be leaner going into shows than we have to be. You know, it's always easier to take a show that's rock hard and take a physique that's rock hard and just kind of soften up a little bit than to have one judge go, hey, you know, you could have dieted for another week. Ooh, man, no, you hear those words and you can't live with yourself. You know, it's like someone says that you're too lean. Okay, I can live with that.
Yeah,
that's why I got second place. If I get second place because somebody else was leaner, oh man, I won't be able to sleep at night, dude. Like I won't. Like you know. So okay, so here's what we're doing with her refeed, man. And because I'm a bodybuilding coach, not a powerlifting coach, and so this is we might want to talk through this together a little bit. But she is essentially increasing 30 to 40% on protein and 30 to 40% on fat on both of her refeed days, and so we're going to do the same thing before the show. So she's basically on survival macros like through the week because she's peeled to the bone right now.
Yeah.
And then that refeed gives her muscle bellies a chance to fill out a bit more. It's still keto. There's no carbs. Okay. So she's just in deeper ketosis. She has more carbs because her body's just like soaking up every single nutrient that we can possibly throw at her right now. So I would recommend doing the same thing with you as a power lifter, unless you know another good keto powerlifting coach that can help you get this peak week down. But I would say the day before the show, don't fill out on carbs. Okay, you figured out real quick how that backfired. So the day before the show, bump it up from whatever you were at least 40%, if not a little bit higher. Jill hasn't been gaining a pound when she's been doing this, and so she's the same weight the next day, even when she does refeed like this.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's because it's retaining all that water inside of her subcutaneous layer, right? Because she's training like a mother effer, and so so for you, I would expect the same thing to happen. I don't think that's gonna throw your weight off. I'm not sure when you weigh in. When do you weigh in?
The day before, so the Friday, I'll weigh in.
Oh heck yeah! So it doesn't matter. So you can just eat all this. You can just eat all this stuff afterwards. It doesn't matter what you look like on the show day, and so. Yeah. From there, I would just have a keto brick or something handy, ready to go before you lift, and make sure that you get a lot of water and a lot of sodium in.
Yeah. Now, so you would recommend doing this like that peak week, like that week of? Do like some.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So drop your macros low, like close to poverty macros, like like basically rock bottom for that last week.
Yeah.
And then do your refeed on Friday. That's how I would do it. If I was a power lifter, that's how that's exactly what I would do for my peak week. And that's probably what my peak week is going to look like in 16 weeks when I step on stage at the Open Natural.
Yeah, I'm down to try it. This whole new keto powerlifting is a whole new experience. So I'll be reporting back to you on how everything's feeling anyway, so we can kind of troubleshoot it together.
Okay. So in terms of what that does to your macros, in terms of what that does to what you're eating every day right now, heading over to your spreadsheet, to your meal plan. So we're going to change your target to what we just agreed. So now we're at 150, 150 protein, 100 fat. All right, and we're dropping from 160 and 140. You're starting off with the half the keto brick. Are you still doing the half keto brick every morning?
Yeah.
Okay. I hate to do this because I'm a keto brick guy. Yeah, I'm just kind of curious what happens if we just change this to a 0. Oops. 50. Yeah, that'd be nice. 50 keto bricks.
Evan.
Bro, no, look at this. Look what that just did. Okay, so now you're at 145 and 100 fat. Do that. Okay, so do this, dude. Don't change a damn thing. Just stop eating. Just take out the keto brick and then add in a full keto brick for your refeed. There you go.
Okay. It's like on top of everything, do the keto brick on the refeed.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, that worked out.
Wow. That was absolutely perfect. Cool, man. Any questions on your meal plan?
No. I mean, I've been rocking all this. I've been keeping up with the bone broth.
I guess for those listening after this, he's got your first meal is ground beef and bone broth, and then after that you got more ground beef, 8 ounces more of that, and then you got a ribeye for dinner. So how are you doing it, man? Like, are you just like eating it cold out of the Tupperware every day, or like are you making burgers and doing anything cool with it?
I go back and forth between, I'll either do like burgers to mix it up, but honestly, I'm such a heathen. I just eat it cold, like out of the Tupperware.
That makes you a heathen, huh? Yeah. I'm the same way, dude. Like I love doing that. Like
it's so weird. Like
the only reason I cook it is because I just think it looks like shit if I'm going to share it on Instagram, and I should make it look better. But I'm with you, man. Like usually, like I just kind of like eating it cold. The butter too, dude. Like if your butter doesn't have bite marks on it, you're not a real carnivore.
It's actually funny. Speaking of kind of like quick kind of food, just like convenience, and I always tease like my clients and a couple people at the gym because of how I cook my steak too. Like just because I know I have ribeye or chuck on here as well, but I pretty much do like blue rare. I just sear it each side just enough to get color, and then I eat it. And
that's how you do it, man.
And they're just like, oh my god, what do you know its name? Like they're just like, yeah, I want to know its name. I want to know its daughter's name. I want because they're next on the menu. Like, I want to know.
How do you feel? Do you notice a difference in how like your sleep quality? Like, are you like way down, more energetic, less energetic after your meal when you cook it all the way through versus kind of how you and I do it, which is pretty savage. Like basically just sear it, knock its horns off, make sure it's dead, and then eat it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why, but I always feel like more stuffed. Like when it's cooked all the way through. Like when I cook it more. Like when I cook it more, just like one side, the other side, eat it, blue rare. Like I feel great. Like I can go for a run or a walk and I can just go. But if I cook it all the way through, or not all the way through, but if I cook it more, it just sits in me. Like I feel more lethargic. I can't quite explain that, but it just like sits heavier in me.
I'm with you, man, 100%. Yeah. So like all things being equal, if I'm fasted and it's lunchtime and I'm gonna have a steak, it's a pound steak. All right, I'm gonna have that, and I'm gonna have a stick of butter. That's like a typical meal for me, right? So I know that if I cook that steak all the way through, I would probably not rather get up and go do anything active. I'll feel sluggish for like the next couple hours, and like I can play music, I can do a meeting, I can going for a run, going for a walk ain't gonna happen. But if it's like barely cooked though, it's so much more bioavailable. Like there's so much less work that your digestive system has to do. And so yeah, I notice better mental clarity if it's before bed. I'll notice better sleep in the morning. Like I'll wake up with a little bit more energy and kind of feeling like I have an empty stomach. But if I eat something that's cooked all the way through, or even like pork or chicken, like obviously because you always want to cook those all the way through, right? But like I notice whenever I eat anything that's not like kind of undercooked red meat, I can feel it in my stomach the next day. But I'm just like you, man. Like I just live, perform, feel so much better with my meat being undercooked. And if you're listening, we're not advocating to do that. Like you should do that at your own risk, you know. But this is if it's from a deer that I shot or from a cow off of someone's property that I know, I'm at peace with it. I'll take my chances.
Yeah, I risk it for the biscuit. It's all for science.
Yeah, I like it. Good stuff, man. All right. Last thing on that is you can print that off too. So
yeah, perfect.
Yeah, I'm kind of nerdy. That's how I did it. And so like if you're just it has a date which automatically populates every day. And so if you're eating the same thing every day, like obviously you don't need to print it off, but like you could print one off every day, like up through your show, and so you have a record of it and like write down where you if you made any substitutions on it or whatever, or if we want to journal anything in it. This is how I was feeling when I was 1 week out. Yeah. I miss my keto bricks. Gosh.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Get a picture of my bricks on the wall that I see every day.
Yeah. Oh, did you get any of the muffin flavors in? They have those.
No, I haven't. I actually just recently stocked up on a bunch of because I saw they did a post about they restocked up on the Bell's brownie batter. So I ended up like buying 30 of those. Like I ended up like stocking up, but I didn't get a chance to grab any of the banana muffins. But
nice.
I love the Bell's brownie batter, so I grabbed that and more of my favorite, which is the chocolate peanut butter cup.
I'm looking at my shelf right now. We just got a shipment in of 5 of the. We just got 10 of them. I get 10 free ones for being an influencer with them a month.
Oh, so, nice.
Thanks. Yeah, it's nice. It helps save up. But I basically don't spend more than $5 or $6 a day on food as it is, and so it kind of it helps keep the grocery budget low. Yeah, everybody's like, "Oh, the carnivore diet's so expensive, I could never do it." I'm like, no, dude, it's the cheapest diet on the planet. Trust me. You have no idea. You have no idea how much crap that you are buying that your body doesn't need, and you would be better off without. Your budget, your bank account, your body will all thank you if you just stop eating plants, particularly the ones that are high in carbs and high in fiber. Sorry, and rant. This isn't Carnivore Coach's Corner. This is the SuperSetYourLife.com podcast.
That's actually last week I had people were saying how, because one of the guys from the gym wanted to get on the, what did he say, quote unquote, I want the diet that makes me look like I'm on juice, but I'm not like Mike. That was exactly what he said.
Oh, I love it.
And I said, I just eat red meat, man. Like, I don't know. Like, I just eat, like, red meat. And then someone else in the gym chimed in and said, yeah, but that's expensive to eat that way. It's expensive. And I'm like, not really. Like,
no, man. It's so cheap.
Then, like, all the junk and processed food and garbage that you're actually spending way more on than you think.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, ask around. Everybody's got neighbors that has chickens or something, right? I don't know. I mean, you live in Syracuse. Probably not, but
yeah, we would need to do some diving in to find...
Probably. Okay, fair enough. But, like, around here, like, we just trade stuff off. Like, bro, like, there's old people that live in the town that are nearby that I just, like, help with, like, physical therapy and stuff, like, just whatever. And we'll trade for eggs or something. It's like, that's how we do it in the Old West, I guess. I don't know.
I went barter with for eggs and and meat and whatnot.
Yeah, I'll come play bass at your church for for whatever. Cool. Okay, well, I'm gonna stop sharing that then. I got some questions for you, if that's all right, my man.
Yeah.
If we can kind of switch gears then. Okay. So I think that what I have is a classic separation. Makes sense because I do classic physique. So it makes sense that I get a classic separation. So this is like with 90% confidence. I'm reading this book right now called, I read this book 12 years ago, and I've basically just been revisiting it every single time I get injured, which for me is a lot. And or whenever I have someone that gets injured. And so it doesn't always have like, the deepest science on what's actually happening, but it gets you pointed in the right direction and helps you like figure out what went wrong, and then has some exercises you can do at home depending on what happened. So yeah, it's just the Men's Health Best Sports Injuries Handbook. And so I I believe that what I have is a torn ligament that connects the collarbone to the shoulder joint. At Eastern Washington University in 2012, I dislocated it at a practice, which is kind of embarrassing. It wasn't a game; it was for a practice, and I was impacted from the top down, and so that's why I believe it was a dislocation. I re-injured it 4 years ago, squatting 435 pounds. It was actually the day after I got that bench. So I got my bench PR, and then I got my squat PR the day after, and I actually threw it out while I was squatting of all things. So I think it was like still kind of tight from the bench the day before. Yeah, that was 4 years ago, but it feels like it was yesterday. So anyway, 3 weeks ago, all I did was sleep on it wrong, man. Pain and numbness all throughout my arm. It was debilitating. I actually wasn't even able to play bass guitar on some days, and so I was like really pissed off about it and just like practicing with my left hand only and stuff. But it made it hard for me to play. Like it made it hard for me to do anything. It was so bad. I was actually like racking my head on the floor trying to get my brain off of how bad the pain in my shoulder was. I was yelling. Taylor could tell you stories. Like you probably would think I was crazy if you saw what I was going through, but it was crazy, man. Like I couldn't sleep. I couldn't do anything. It just felt like I was being stabbed with a knife. I just haven't felt a pain like that in a long time, if ever.
Yeah.
If like these swords that are on my wall right now, like I was considering grabbing one of these swords and just like hacking it off and being done with it and being like what Anakin Skywalker, Luke, they both lost their arms, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Two arms.
right. So I've been doing basic shoulder PT work from this handbook since then. You know, just just basic stuff like side lateral raises with a band, but static with the injured arm, and then moving with the non-injured arm. Which brings me into contralateral training. So contralateral training, dude, this is something that I've been wanting to experiment with actually for a while. And it's funny how God works. Maybe he just, maybe this is his way of saying, okay, Colt, you want to try contralateral training? Yeah, let's see it. So we have, so my last 3 upper body days this last week have been training one arm only. Okay. So like my workout, I'm grabbing my workout logbook right now. My workout yesterday was at Yellowstone Fitness, and I did 4 exercises for lats and 1 exercise for back. I had 25 minutes to train before my client got there, and so I did unilateral diverging pull downs for my left arm only, and then I did unilateral seated cable rows for my left arm only. It was kind of nice because since my right arm wasn't doing crap, like my breathing was great, my endurance was great, so I was able to push my left arm quite a bit harder than I was like on a normal back workout. I love isolateral training for the back anyway. Like I feel like I get a much deeper range of motion, a better mind connection. Back in particular is probably my favorite muscle group to train one arm at a time anyway. So did that. So I did diverging pull downs for the lats, a couple warm up sets, and then a quadruple drop set. Right. I'm like, all right, we're gonna make this muscle suffer. So 150 pounds for 12, dropped it to 130 for 7, dropped it to 110 for 7, and then dropped it to 90 for 7, and then 5 low partials because I had already hit concentric failure. So my left lat is basically completely fried. Went there to the seated cable row machine, and then did palms up on those bad boys to target the lower lats as well. And then same thing, I did a quadruple drop set there. So just one set, just one massive failure set, 2 separate exercises. Then I had enough time and energy for about 2 more sets. So I did the same thing with lawnmowers, just a single arm, left arm only, dumbbell row for 100 pounds for 8, and then dropped it to 95 for 8 with no rest, and then dropped it to 80 for 8 plus 5 with no rest. So that pretty much ruined, in a good way, my traps, rhomboids, low traps, rear delts a little bit. And then unilateral single seated cable shrugs. So it's like a seated cable row, but you're not really bending your elbow. You're just focusing on retracting your scapula and same thing there. So a quadruple drop set. So that's 4 exercises, everything left arm only. And then the only exercise I did for pecs was a single arm dumbbell flat bench press. So I used a 60-pound dumbbell for 15 reps. And then I did 2 more sets of that. So 15 reps again to concentric failure. And then my last set was 15 reps to concentric failure, 5 low partials, and then holding a static hold for 10 seconds. And so I failed basically 3 times on that one. So very, very low volume, very, very high intensity. The left side of my body is the same as it has been the last 2 times that I've trained chest and back in a similar way. I'm doing the same thing with shoulders at home too. So this is basically like what my upper body workouts are looking like right now. So every time I do this, I'm very inflamed the next day on the left side of my body. I'm sore, like my left lat is sore right now. My right side feels fine. My shoulder is feeling better and better. And I haven't noticed any change in my physique. I haven't noticed any change or any lack of strength in doing this. So far, so good. I thought that this entire thing was all bro science for a long time because I've heard of people doing this and I've read about it before. And it's always sounded too good to be true. But it's actually the way that your brain is wired that sends that same anabolic signal to the other side of your body. And so I was like, okay, this is just too good to be true. And so I started looking it up and started researching this, man. And yeah, I actually found this meta-analysis. Can I share it with you?
Yeah.
Cool. So it's called, so this is PMID 28630-570. It's called Contralateral Effects After Unilateral Strength Training, a meta-analysis comparing training loads. The abstract says there is solid evidence to the cross-training phenomenon. This is also called contralateral training, by the way. I call it contralateral training personally. It's kind of my favorite thing to call it. I call it CT for short because cross training, it sounds too close to CrossFit. And I'm a bodybuilder, and yeah, we don't get along. There is solid evidence on the cross training phenomenon, but the training load required to achieve it has yet to be established. The aim of this meta-analysis was to deduce what unilateral strength training load, duration, frequency, intensity, rest, and type would enable the biggest strength increases to be obtained in the inactive contralateral limb. The studies in the meta-analysis showed a low risk of bias and had an estimated pool effect of 0.56, greater size of basically what the rest of this is saying that they can is that it's legit and that they controlled for all the variables that could throw things off. And then it says, in conclusion, to optimize contralateral strength improvements, cross-training sessions should involve fast eccentric exercises with moderate volumes and rest intervals. So the key points in this study: interlimb transfer of strength is more effective in high-speed eccentric exercises. Muscular endurance training is not advisable to induce contralateral adaptations, and cross-education may depend on more of volume of training than on load. See, that's where I get confused. So anyway, man, I guess what I've found so far has been that it's legit. It definitely works. So the question is not, does contralateral training work? But more, how is the best way to train, the most effective way? So what the rest of the studies that I've been finding have been showing is that some people think that you're better off with heavier weight. Some people think that you're better off with heavier volume. I don't really see how it would make a difference personally. So I'm just still training the way that I've been training on this cut, which is with high volume, low intensity. And so if these results keep heading the direction the way that they are, great. I'm just going to take it and run with it, and I think we'll have another valuable tool that we can use to help people around their injuries. But I think that, but if I like end up with a giant left side of my body and a tiny right side of my body, then I'll just do everything backwards. Seriously, yeah. I mean, like, I have everything written down, exact weights and everything, and so I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna, like, I will seriously repeat these next 2 weeks if I F up my physique doing this, but science says that I'm not going to, and so we'll see.
I mean, that makes sense to me. I know just kind of on some stuff like that when I jacked up a nerve in my neck and it caused like the whole my left arm to just shut down, like my tricep, just all that. I would do stuff like that where it was like one-sided training, but I would like it was an actual thing that I saw about where I would face the mirror in my gym and I would do like a kickback and I would have the weight in my strong arm, but I would still be doing the motion with like my dead arm.
Yeah.
And I would face away from the mirror and switch the weight to my dead arm to do it because it actually sends a signal up to your brain that like, yeah, this is okay, like you're okay to do this and start building up the strength and like rebuild that arm. And it's like a psychology, like neuropathy type of thing to where it like sends a signal as you're kind of doing it at the same time with no weight, and then you flip flop away from the mirror and switch the weight over, and it ended up working. I was able to rehab my neuropathy and like my disc issue all on my own doing stuff like that.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Okay. So so when you're doing contralateral, walk me through just like a typical contralateral training. So say like you're me and you're like, I don't know what's wrong with my shoulder. It's shot. Like hopefully it doesn't need surgery, you know, but like it's like I flat out should not be doing anything with it for 2 weeks, right? Or say that happens in your hip. Would you just kind of keep going hard on that one leg then, and just do your normal physical therapy on your non-working leg, and vice versa on your upper body? Is that kind of what I'm hearing?
Yeah, that's pretty much what I did. Yeah, for that type of like nerve issue, that nerve damage, and that like I kept training just as normal, honestly. But then I kept up with the PT stuff and like the stuff I was saying, like with the one-sided training where I would rehab the left arm when I could, but I kept all of my training the same. Just like I kind of went off of a bit of a pain scale, I guess. Like as like my pain threshold improved, I would push it a bit more even on the left arm. And I've noticed no discrepancies or issues or strength imbalances since.
Wow, yeah, because that was going to be my $1 million question is if you did notice anything, because if anybody could pick it out, like you and I know our own bodies more like
Yeah.
more than most people do on the planet. And so yeah, I've been trying to get into local physical therapy, but their scheduling has just kind of been a joke, and so I just gave up. I'm like, oh man, like okay, whatever. Like but all the injuries that I've been through and coached people through, like I can, you know, I could figure this out better than they can help me with,
Yeah.
I'm sure. So all right.
So yeah, I've definitely experimented with. I didn't know it was called that, but I've experimented with like one-sided training and just like doing little tricks, like doing it in the mirror, and then I would face away from the mirror just to like kind of play tricks with the brain because the mind's a very powerful, you know, asset. And just yeah, that's one of my resumes is I kind of like self-healed the neuropathy and like a ruptured disc in my, I assume like a pinched nerve like in my neck, and now I'm good as new.
Right.
So, yeah.
Good stuff. Awesome, man. Aside from injuries, aside from lifting heavy, what's just like something that you've been finding yourself repeating, talking to your clients every day?
Yeah. I would say the biggest thing is just really it's been just building sustainable habits and just trying to get clients just to eat better. Like the nutrition's been like the biggest thing that I've been trying to hammer in with clients for sure. And just everyone wants like the quick switch and they want to see results in a week. And it's been the big thing with clients is helping them understanding that this has to be a marathon, not a sprint, and just helping them build sustainable habits.
Hey everyone, Coach Taylor Milton here. Welcome to Skullbells TV, the official YouTube channel of supersetyourlife.com, where you're going to discover a weekly upload of quick and easy to follow workout tutorials featuring Coach Colt, myself, or one of our athletes to keep your workouts fun, practical, and effective. Our family's latest keto carnivore recipes that fuel Colt's competitions and keep myself and our kiddos strong and healthy. Video uploads of the supersetyourlife.com podcast, now over 100 episodes. Your weekly dose of entertainment, education, and inspiration to fuel your life inside and beyond the gym, and much more. Last thing before we get into the video, we're asking a big favor from you. This has been working beautifully, so if you would please think of someone you care about that would benefit from this video, go ahead and smash that like button, click the share button, and text this video to them. That would mean the world to us. And while you're at it, make sure you hit the subscribe button so you don't miss more exciting content from Skullbells TV, because our team has lots of meat and lots of muscle coming your way, and I promise you won't want to miss it. When you hit the subscribe button, you'll see a bell icon pop up. You want to click that too so you're notified every time we release a new video. Thank you so much for the support. It means the world to us. Every like, share, and subscription helps our channel grow and supports our family's hard work. So thank you so much for doing your part too. That's all we ask. God bless you, and please enjoy this video.
So I got a DM on Instagram about a half hour ago with someone asking what my thoughts were on cheat days, like if that's something that I do. I don't do it personally. I was wondering if it's something that you do, and if you found that to be helpful in people adhering to their diets, to your point, Mike. So my response to him on the cheat day topic, on the cheat day question, was that I don't do it personally because I've never found that to be something that I feel like particularly is healthy for my relationship with food. I kind of feel like two-thirds of the people in this world, as just like a rough guest, are kind of like me. I feel like most people are like me. I think that most people have a hard time handling highly palatable foods in moderation if you're on a specific bodybuilding composition mission, which I am, right? Like my physique is like kind of everything for me. Like not everything, but it's kind of like my one thing right now. You know, it's like from that stems my coaching and then how I'm going to do it this next show and everything. And so like it's really important. And so for me to be able to stick to that, having cheat days in kind of takes my eyes away from what the purpose of food really is. It's not entertainment. Everything I eat is very, very specific for a very specific end goal. Yeah. And I think for most people, those cheat days can throw you off and do more damage than good. But there's some people where that, just like the thought of doing that, makes you go crazy. And there's people that can diet great and be carnivore and be 100% keto during the week, and then eat a whole bunch of crap carbs on the weekend and bounce back just fine. I'm not one of those guys, man. I can't do it. I can't do it mentally. Maybe I could when I was 20, but I'm 31, and I just kind of like eating the same thing every day and, you know, smashing my workouts, and life is good otherwise. So
yeah, for sure. I definitely, I always feel like when it comes down to cheat meals, like you kind of said, there's two groups. There's people who can moderate, do, you know, I don't like calling them cheats because I don't know, like I don't like that terminology. But
I don't either. My wife doesn't like it either. I'm just kidding.
You have like that high carb, highly palatable indulgence meal, and you can get back on track. I think if you're in that party, first of all, we want to explain like the why behind them. Like why I always ask my clients a lot of questions, like what's the why? Like why do you feel like you need a cheat meal? And that's always what I try and dig into. But
that's a good. Yeah, there you go. Because I asked him, I just basically told the guy, I'm not training him or anything. I just told the guy, I was like, you got to figure out which personality type you are. And so I like that as a question to, I guess, to help them further think and identify that within themselves, huh?
And the other group is people, like we were kind of saying, where they're really good during the week, and then next thing you know, they have a cookie, and then they black out, and they're down an entire pint of Ben and Jerry's, and they're just in a spiral, and then they get the case of the fuckets to where now they're saying like, well, there's always back at it Monday, and then
Monday is the new day. Let's go.
Yeah.
On Monday, I'm gonna do this and that. Yeah. And, like, it's probably going to my muscles anyway. You know, like
that one.
Yeah, you could tell yourself that all day. It's like those carbs they are not doing one good thing in your body, and you know it.
That one I hear. Yeah, I'm gonna get sick lifts tomorrow.
Yeah. I used to tell myself the same thing. Yeah. Then when I stopped eating them, I was like, man, my lifts are just better the less carbs I eat.
Yeah. And with me personally, I used to be that guy, but now it's funny how my everything's kind of changed to where now, like, unless I'm at like a family gathering or just kind of like with people, like it is what it is. But I crave things like steakhouses, chicken wings. Like I don't really go for junk food, so I have a hard time resonating. But it is good to ask those questions, and I try to find the why behind why clients feel like they want or need a cheat meal.
I love it. I'm reading the book right now called Start With Why by Simon Sinek. Are you familiar with it?
No. What's that about?
Yeah, I read the hard copy a few years ago, back when my wife and I were doing direct selling, and so we were kind of in a leadership position and smashing through a lot of business books. But it's called Start With Why, and I'm actually just listening to the audiobook right now and revisiting it. Simon Sinek. It's just a good positive mental attitude, you know, thinking about your life goals, life dreams, making whatever it is that you're doing, your job or your career, like a kind of like a montage, and you know, It's
Yeah.
good. I just highly recommend it.
Yeah, I'm always looking for new books to read on my walks and just some new literature. So I'll have to
Well,
look at
and
that.
your reason why you're dieting. I mean, everybody has to have a reason. If you don't, you're just not going to be anchored. You're not going to be rooted. You know, I mean, that's like the Bible talks about the same thing, right? Like if you're not planted, it's like the parable of whatever it is. If you're not rooted in good soil, it's you're toast, and that's your foundation on your meal plan and on your powerlifting meet. My competition. It's like, why do I always have a competition in front of me? It's because
Keeps you motivated, keeps you on plan.
yeah, it's because otherwise, why am I even eating anything? It's like, what's the purpose to it? I have to have a purpose, and like maybe that makes me OCD and a little crazy, but all of us bodybuilders have a little bit of that in us, right?
Oh, yeah, that's yeah.
I think most successful people do too.
It keeps you on. It keeps you on track. You have to be obsessed. You have to be obsessed, and you have to be yeah. And it's speaking of like grounded in soil and stuff. That's always one of the first things I'll ask clients in a consultation is I'll try and find their why and what motivates them. And I can tell, like on day one, like that first chat, if they're gonna stick it out or not, like just by how strong their motivation is. Like if they're doing it for improve blood markers or improve actual health metrics, I know like, okay, this person wants to improve their life. But if there's just someone saying, oh, I want to lose a few pounds, I'm like, okay, you're not going to stick with it. Like you're going to, the second you see that scale, you're going to be ruled by that $20 Walmart piece of technology. And the second that scale stops, you're going to give up. I can already tell. And I call it. It's happened.
That's why coaching calls are always free with me for the first 15 minutes because I'm interviewing them too. They don't know. I'm like, man, is this going to be somebody that like this is the 15th diet they've tried this year?
Oh, yeah.
Or is this someone like Jill freaking calls me up like 7 or 8 weeks ago and says, hey, I want to do this show. Let's go. I'm like, wow, now it's like, how can I talk to her every single day and bitch and complain about having to do a cold plunge? She's doing cold plunges every day with a smile on her face.
I'm a firm believer that good clients keep us coaches in line and keep us accountable as well.
Yeah, man, we don't do this for the money. If we wanted to make money, we'd be doing something else, man.
Absolutely, yeah. It's very rewarding. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna end our talk on this, man. I respect your time. I know you got a lot of people that are that look up to you, that are depending on you, that you got to go motivate, that you got to go train right now. So you go do that. But Conor McGregor says there is no talent here. This is hard work. This is an obsession.
Preach. Yep.
One of my favorites. Love you, brother. Where can everybody go to find out more about you and watch your journey?
Yeah, so they can follow me on my Instagram, and that is M_, and then it's my last name, so MEOLA. And I'm posting daily lifts, all of my PRs, and I'll be posting my meet recap. And yeah, and they can also follow a link to my online platform where I coach people, and they'll see what I'm all about, where I talk about my approach to dieting, lifting, got some cool pictures of me on there too, and they can look into some coaching as well.
Absolutely. Go find them, everybody. Go blow them up. And Mike, thank you so very much. Good luck on your competition, man. We'll be talking as we get closer and figure out exactly what to do with that refeed. But I feel like we pretty much have a solid game plan put together, and I know you're gonna crush it.
Thanks, Colt. I really appreciate it. Always a pleasure being on here chatting with you.
Hey, everybody, just wanted to say thanks for either watching or listening, however you consumed this interview with Coach Mike and myself. We'll catch you on Monday, as always, on episode 253 of the SuperSetYourLife.com podcast. So I just wanted to sign off with this. 1 Corinthians 6, verses 19 through 20. Do you not know that your body is a sanctuary of the Holy Spirit who is in you, whom you have from God? You are not your own, for you are bought at a price. Therefore, glorify God in your body. Thanks a lot, everybody. God bless. We'll catch you next week.